First and foremost, it is against human nature to do good to those who are trying to kill you. Hey everybody, I'm Timothy Holt. This is 90 and Out, part 2 of 3-part series covering the Sermon on the Plain, which Jesus delivered circa about 27 AD outside Capernaum on his way back into town. As I mentioned in the first part of this series, I don't think Luke's account of the Sermon on the Plain is the same speech as Matthew's account of the Sermon on the Mount. Instead, I think the Sermon on the Mount took place first, and then on the way back into town, after the outcasts of society, the lame, the blind, the poor, and so on, started flocking around him, he started healing them, doing some pretty cool things. He gave a short and condensed speech to them, covering his core principles and what it meant to follow him as a disciple. So let's dive right in. In part 1, we covered the blessings and the cautions. So check out that video. I'm going to skip over that. But I say to you, who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who spitefully use you. To him who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who takes away your goods, do not seek them back. And just as you want men to do to you, you also do to them likewise. But if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive back, what credit is it to you? For even sinners lend to sinners to receive much back. But love your enemies, do good and lend, hoping for nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore be merciful, just as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you give, it will also be given to you. So that's the main body of this speech. And let's dissect that a little bit, shall we? First and foremost, it is against human nature to do good to those who are trying to kill you. Let's just be honest. It's really easy to be kind to people who are kind to you, to respect people who are respectful to you, to be generous to people who are generous to you. I have a neighbor, they're great people, they're really good to me, they've went out of their way to benefit me on multiple occasions, and I have no problem whatsoever benefiting them back in return. I think that is human nature, you give what you get. However, Jesus is telling the audience here in this speech, hey, if you want to follow me, if you want to be like me, you're going to have to bless those who curse you. You're going to have to benefit those who use you. You're going to have to be compassionate to those who want to kill you. And that is completely contrary to human nature. He says, even sinners give expecting to return. But Christians aren't supposed to do that. Christians aren't supposed to be like the sinners. They're supposed to be like Christ, like Jesus, and follow what he teaches. And that's a pretty high bar to meet. It's really difficult when somebody is, beating the daylights out of you, for you not to try to beat the daylights out of them back. But Jesus says, don't even worry about that. Judge not, lest you be judged. Now that one's a tough one. We're going to get into what that actually means in our part 3, because he starts talking in parables, word pictures, to explain what that means. Judge not, and you won't be judged. It's not what we commonly hear. It's not that, oh, we're not supposed to judge. They're clearly doing evil stuff, but who am I to say? That's not what Jesus is saying here. And often this gets taken out of context. And I think I'm a firm believer that if you take text out of context, all you're left with con. That's it. You're left with a con. And he says, because he furthers and says, give and it will be given back to you. He's using the same dichotomy that he used in the Sermon on the Mount. The same dichotomy with the blessings and the cautions. It's, hey, these are some general principles that nobody likes hanging out with a judgmental person. I'm sure you watching this, you can probably think right now of somebody who's judgmental in your life. It seems like no matter what you do, they're coming down on you with judgment. That is what Jesus is saying here. Not that we aren't supposed to make judgment calls or simply observe things to be righteous or evil or what have you, because we do that every day, all day long. Even putting on this tie, I judged whether or not this tie went with this jacket. I made a judgment call. I think it goes pretty well, I like it, but that's my judgment. That's not what Jesus is talking about here. It's more that judgmental, spiteful, my crap don't stink kind of judgment. And because right before that, he says, be merciful as your Father is merciful. God's mercy is amazing, okay? You watching this video may know me personally. You may not. You may only know me through these videos, and that's okay. But if I got what I deserved, I'd live a pretty horrible life. God's pretty awesome, okay? And I'm sure you're the same way. If you look back on your life, you've probably made some pretty horrible decisions and done some pretty bad things in your life. Simply because we're human beings and we screw up. And if God judged us harshly, none of us would be able to stand in his presence. No one. None of us. Not you, not me, none. But he is merciful to grant forgiveness. And Jesus says, just as I'm merciful to you, be merciful to others. Just as I give to you, give to others. Love your enemies. So I'm going to conclude that video on this thought. Love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. If you want to know what Jesus is all about, that sums it up right there. While they were actively killing him through the process known as crucifixion, he forgave them. I'd like to say I'm a good enough person that I would be able to do that, but the truth is I don't know if I could. But Jesus says, if you want to be a Christian, if you want to follow me, you're going to need to step up and do that. And the only way you can do that is through me. That's it. So, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. I challenge you today, the next day or two, find someone, go out of your way to be generous to someone who can never repay you. Several years ago, there was this thing going around the United States called Pay It Forward. I want you to do that. I want you to go out of your way to find someone who you don't think could ever repay you and do good to them. And take it up a notch. Take it up just a notch. Find that person who has wronged you, that person that has hurt you, that person that has stirred bitterness inside of you, that resentment, That person that you just absolutely cannot stand, and do good to them. Find something to do good to them. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. And just see what happens. Thank you for watching this video. I'd love to see this channel grow and reach more people. If you could hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. I'd like to have 50 subscribers by the end of the year. That's in about 6 weeks. I know that's a far cry from where I'm at right now. I think I have 18, 19, maybe 17 subscribers as of the recording of this video. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you want notifications, hit the silver bell. That's what YouTube does now. It has that silver bell. You can set the notification rate on that. If you like this content, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. I'll respond to all my comments. And if you don't, if you think I'm just full of manure, if you think I'm just blowing smoke out my rear, hit the thumbs down button. Just let me know. I'd love to get your take on this. If you think this guy named Jesus was just, high as a kite, let me know. I'd love to have that conversation. Just leave a comment. And with that, may God bless you. Share this video with anyone and everyone, freely, unabated. And this is Timothy Holt with 90 and out.